Welcome to Dadograms. This one's going to be a little bit different. Today we're talking about something that all of us, kids, adults, leaders, coworkers, parents, all of us can fall into. The habit of saying or doing things that hurt. Not because we're cruel by nature, not because we sometimes get angry or insecure, but because we're trying to get a laugh. I can't help but notice that way too many of us have a mindset that dehumanizes others in the name of entertainment and validation from our peers. And we often don't consider just how much damage these jokes can do to others. There's a clip making the rounds involving Shedeur Sanders during the NFL draft. A prank caller impersonating an executive with the Saints called his personal phone, pretending the Saints were going to recruit him. It was a setup, a prank, designed for attention and entertainment, and it was filmed for all to see. At first, Shedeur handled it with grace, but you could see a flicker of confusion, of frustration, and even hurt. And when he realized he was being played live in front of a national audience, he hung up. And as you can see in this video, on the other side of the call, the pranksters and how they reacted, how much fun they were having at the expense of another. It reminds me of the age-old adage, wherever there's laughter, there's a victim. Especially when the joke is unintended and comes at someone's emotional or reputational cost. In this datagram, I'll bring up some examples of just plain old meanness done for a laugh, and we'll consider the choices we all have every day to either build someone up or tear someone down. Let me take you back to a few moments that shaped my perspective on this. Back in high school, a friend and I were cruising in his car. Cruising was what we did where we were trying to find our friends to meet up with them because we didn't have texting devices or even cell phones or anything like that back in the day. And on this night, it was dark. And as we cruised through the city, we came up from behind a college student on a bicycle cruising in the turn lane in the middle of the road. I happened to notice that he was singing and slightly weaving back and forth as he was kind of dancing on his bike, which to me struck me as kind of cool as a guy, truly enjoying life. And as our car got right up next to him, my friend, the driver, laid on the horn and accelerated. It scared the biker so bad he almost fell off of his bike. It was so unexpected it scared me as the passenger, and my friend exploded in laughter. He thought it was the funniest damn thing he'd ever seen, and it pissed me off to no end. And I know it almost gave that poor biker a heart attack because he thought we were going to hit him. And why? That's what I asked my friend. Why did he do that? And all he said was, because it was funny. He got it into his mind that it would be funny, so he did it, despite the fact that it was all done at the expense of another person who was just simply riding their bike home that night. The cruel things kids do to each other. That moment has stuck with me for decades, and not because it was funny, but because it was sad, because of how easily someone could just decide to turn another human being into the punchline of a private joke. It was wrong. From my memory, lots of kids in my high schools, 3 of them, were just plain mean to each other. I've seen the kick me signs put on people's backs. I've seen people get stuffed into lockers. I've seen seats yanked out from behind somebody just as they went to go sit down. And on, all for a laugh at someone else's expense. Recently, a lady in a neighborhood near us posted something on the neighborhood Facebook page that let us all know that this sick sense of humor is still alive and well with today's youth. She said while she was going for a walk around her neighborhood, a young boy in his early teens rode up to her on a bicycle, and as he passed her, he reached out and slapped her on the butt. And then he rode away laughing as he left the scene. What the hell? And he thought that was funny? I simply don't know what gets into people. What type of thinking makes some kid think that that's going to be funny? Maybe he was imitating that stupid video on YouTube called the Smack Your Booty prank. And no, I'm not even going to put that in the background here for anybody to see. Or maybe he was mimicking behavior he saw at home. That's possible, I suppose. Or maybe he was just trying to impress friends. I truly can't imagine what he was thinking, but one thing I know, it was not okay, and it came at the expense of that lady he slapped. When she posted on Facebook, she prefaced her post by saying that she knew she was overweight and said that she was just trying to start working out. It was like she was apologizing for being a target for that kid. So here's the problem. Cruelty has become casual. We've normalized cutting remarks and cheap shots as part of how people talk and treat each other. Some call it sarcasm, others say that are just joking. But when these words and actions hit someone who is already carrying insecurities, doubts, or pain, it doesn't feel like a joke. It feels like an attack. Now, an easy way to explain this is to say that kids lack judgment and impulse control. We all know that. Kids are susceptible to this kind of stupid stuff until they're about age 19 or 21, where their brain matures and they can exercise more control over their actions. They say men don't fully mature until they're around age 25, and that's why everyone's insurance rates drop at the age of 25, because the insurance companies have this all figured out. But I find that too many people don't grow out of it at all, or perhaps they are never told by someone they respect that their words or actions are inappropriate and unacceptable. And so it continues on through college and even continues on into the professional workplace. I've seen a few Navy pilots, guys and gals in aircraft squadrons, make snide comments in meetings, use sarcasm to undermine others, and take cheap shots just to diminish someone else or elevate their own stature. It's not common, but I have seen it. One guy I worked with was an absolute master at a concept called gaslighting, a sophisticated form of psychological and emotional abuse where he could manipulate those he worked with into doubting the way they actually perceive things, or even doubting their own memory of events. It was weird and wrong. He caused so much dysfunction and drama in the workplace with his twisted words and his actions that it was almost impossible to work with him. At least it was for me. And for what? I've never understood the mind of people who mistreat others. Perhaps they do it to feel bigger about themselves, or perhaps they never developed part of their brain that allowed them to grow out of it at all. And to add injury to insult for all the normal people in the workplace, leadership often rewards the class clown over the quiet contributor. They reward the witty takedown over the constructive comments, and that just encourages more of this type of behavior. What leaders sometimes fail to recognize is that this kind of behavior by anybody on the team actually weakens the entire team, because there is no trust and valuable energy is spent on trying to fend off outlandish attacks and pranks. This prevents the team from coming together and from optimizing their performance. So it's a real problem. Cruelty has become casual. We've normalized cutting remarks and cheap shots as just part of how people talk and behave. And every time there's laughter at the expense of another, it encourages those who cause the pain to do it even more. And as a dad with kids in grade school, high school, and college right now, I see my own kids who were never taught to be like this doing it to each other right here in the house, because they are immersed in a culture in their schools that tolerate and even encourages this type of behavior. And of course, there are the usual excuses like calling it sarcasm or, "Hey dad, I'm just joking," but it doesn't make it right. Thankfully, we're a very tough Navy family and can handle some teasing, but my wife and I don't let it take root. We know it doesn't build us up, and if left unchecked, it can actually tear us down. And also, if our kids start to think that that kind of talk is normal or acceptable to us, the parents, they may carry it outside the home, where someone already carrying pain and doubt won't hear their words as a joke. They'll hear it as an attack. And we have no intention of raising kids that attack others for entertainment. By prohibiting it in the home, we hope that they will grow out of it faster and not bring it into college or the workplace or into their own family someday in the future. I guess it's about being proactive on our parts as parents, and it's hard. It's a constant battle, but I think it's one worth doing, and one I encourage all of you parents out there to take to heart. So for all of you out there, instead of giving in and contributing to cruelty for entertainment, let me offer you a different path. Growing up, we all heard it. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Simple, but powerful. And apparently really, really hard to do in a world where everyone wants to get the last word in, where kids deal with this in their schools, where everyone watches it on social media, and where we see it in politics all the time. We are constantly bombarded by this endless stream of childish behavior. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all is a powerful first step, but a really, really hard first step to take. Another idea that has struck with me ever since I was a little boy is the golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have others do unto you. So consider that rule and ask yourself this. Do you like being mistreated? Do you like being embarrassed in front of others? Do you like emotional or physical pain? No? Well, big surprise. Most people don't. So don't be the cause of it in others. If anything, show mercy and be willing to help those who need it. And if you think more about the golden rule, you'll see it's not just about what you avoid doing. It's a call to action. It means lift others up the way you wish others would lift you. Defend others the way that you wish you were defended. and speak life into someone else's story, not belittling or tearing it down. As my kids sometimes talk to me about the struggles they have with this kind of thing in their school, and as I hear the mean things their classmates sometimes say to those kids who are different, I often think back to the knight's oath from the movie Kingdom of Heaven. It went like this: be without fear in the face of your enemies. Be brave and upright, that God may love thee. Speak the truth, even if it leads to your death. Safeguard the helpless, and do no wrong. That is your oath. And as a Navy pilot for over 28 years, that general idea is something that I've had in my heart the whole time. And if that's the kind of thing that we think about before we act, before we try and do something funny at the expense of someone else, we might find it a much better world that we all live in. So wherever you are, in your home, your classroom, your workplace, or just walking down the street, ask yourself this: are your words and actions building someone up or breaking them down? And if you're breaking them down, what are you going to do to change that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I have for you in today's Dadogram. Thank you for listening, and remember, be kind to each other out there. It starts with you.